what it dooski, Teddy Brewski, what's the deal, Shaquille O'Neal? What's the word, Larry Bird? It's your boy Reactions, man. Remo's Reactions TV. We are back with yet another one, man. New to the channel, please hit that subscribe, man. Please and thank you. We're on the road to 5K, 10K, and we're going to spike it up to 25K. So I need y'all support, man. Just go like this. Like doink the motherfucker. Pause. But before we get this shit started, man, shout out to the Most High for another day. Trying to stay active, stay creative, and keep on producing this content. And, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, make sure y'all do that as well. Everything we do over here at Reactions is for entertainment and educational purposes. I do not own this content. Make sure y'all go to Panda Chop TV. You know what I mean? Support Broski over there. And it's for fair use. So, you know, we're just going to tap into it. The stage is set. Benzino and 50 Cent are back at it again, man. You know. So, yeah, this is some funny content, man. So, yeah, man, hit that subscribe, man. Peace. Love y'all, man. Appreciate you. Welcome to the family.
And if there's any real issues, I'm not hard to find.
Get it.
Recently, Benzino went on a podcast called Get a Report Podcast to address the narrative that he snitched on his nephew back in 2014 after his nephew shot him. There was an audio recording that had came out of Benzino speaking to police officers after he had been shot. Whack 100, I believe, was the one to put it out, but other people had heard it before Whack even put it out too. In the recording, he identifies his nephew as the shooter.
I got up, used the thing. He rolled his window down to put his gun on his shot.
You saw him?
Seen him. I just was surprised. I seen it. Next thing you know, gunshots. That was it.
Okay, you didn't intentionally pull up next to his car or anything?
No, I mean, potentially. I just was going through the procession. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't have no gun on me. I didn't have any gun. There was no gun. He had a gun. Right. Obvious.
When you say he, who was that?
Guy.
All right. Thank you for clarifying those last couple points. I'm going to end the recording. And you understand each time we've talked that you've been on the table, you know, and so forth, and it's a tape statement. You understand that? Okay.
There were also the court transcripts where he was summoned to testify in court against his nephew. Benzino said this, but throughout the entire court transcripts, he's also saying he doesn't remember seeing who shot him, and he doesn't remember the statement he gave before to the police officers when he was in the hospital. So Benzino's whole thing was, yes, I said these things previously to law enforcement when I was confused after being shot, but I didn't get on the stand and say it when it mattered the most, where it could have gotten my nephew 15 years. That's his whole thing. Now, Benzino went on this podcast specifically because they had a former group member of his on there saying that Benzino had snitched based on the recording. So while on this podcast, Benzino really went off and was arguing back and forth with the host and eventually got up and left the podcast. There was audio at the end of them arguing.
That boy got ghosts. Come on, man. What the Wi-Fi doing, man? I gotta relax. Relax.
And it sounds like a confrontation happened, but you couldn't see what happened. Well, 50 Cent decided to post a clip from this interview with the caption, "You want me to believe Omar was stooly because Sosa said so? Yes, if I say he ain't right, he ain't right." He also included the comment, "This is your paperwork, the f*** wrong with your man." This caused Benzino to go on live and just go off. Man, roll the clip.
Some of them.
Subscribe for me, y'all. Subscribe for me. Damn.
Who got blammed up 9 times and didn't do shit about it. Then, at the Hit Factory, Murder Inc. thumps up on him and Tony Yayo, and he makes statements, which is his signature, made statements about what happened. Now, with me talking about this, I want a lot of people to realize, and a lot of the younger guys to listen to what I'm saying. Me, I got a big heart. You know, a lot of things that I've done for people were my own fault because I ended up doing shit for the wrong people. These motherfuckers would just walk over my dead body, step on me if they had a chance, right? In the situation with my nephew and Curtis, it's like they're kind of alike. Like I helped both of them, and then years later they kind of stabbed me in the back. First with Curtis. We'll start with Curtis since he likes posting things. You know what I'm saying? When he was at the Hit Factory, and I've told the story before, but it kind of means something now, right? Curtis ran down to my studio session not even a half a block down, and I actually helped his ass. He showed me where he got poked up, and I actually helped him and
All
sent
this is
him on his way
allegedly.
to the hospital, called him a car service.
Listen, all this is allegedly, man. I don't know about none of this. Is all alleged, man. It's remote reactions.
He didn't have any money, I don't think, on. How else
Man.
was he going to get to the hospital? He showed me where he got poked up. He showed me the gun that Tony Ayo dropped with when Black Child lumped him up with no bullets in it. Me, the big heart that I have, the cancer in me, said, come on, you know what? Let me help you out. And I helped him out. And now years later, he keeps trying to, what a lot of people been doing, been trying to put a stain on my name and on my reputation. And you can't do it. The transgender thing didn't work. The gay shit didn't work. None of that works. I'm not gay. I've never been gay. I never even met that transgender. Never was even in the same room. We shot a movie together. The director gave the transgender my number. They edited the conversations. Never even hooked up. Never seen nothing. I have a history of dealing with beautiful women my entire life. The woman I'm with now is amazingly beautiful. But that's a different story. Nick, like Curtis, he seemed like a Nick that always been insecure. Not always that Nick on the side looking like at the other niggas who be getting the bitches. See, I didn't grow up the big, tough, thug gangster nigga. I was a fly hustler nigga. But if you fucked with me, I'd take your head off. But I wasn't out there bullying people. And I ran with a big crew that still fuck with me today. Free my brother Porky, free Trev, free Hood Boss. So I don't, that street shit, I did it all. So I don't worry about that. I'm 60 years old now. It's supposed to be a new path. But this nigga keeps posting stupid shit about me and I'm like, what's his a Nick that actually helped you out? This is how you treat him? Because like I said, we can get in the ring and I'll beat your ass, Curtis. Yeah, me and you could get in the ring for that money. 3 rounds. I'll whoop you. You big and sloppy and too stiff. And I don't believe all that Golden Glove shit. All right, we gonna put that to the side. Mayweather, holla at me. Believe me.
Hey, yo, he's super duper pause. He said you big, you sloppy, and you too stiff. You go, hey, yo, I'm done. This nigga Benzino is crazy. Hey, yo, but he's entertaining, man. Hold up, man. You gotta fucking relax. Hit that
What's his a Nick that actually helped you out? This is how you treat him? Because like I said, we can get in the ring and I'll beat your ass, Curtis. Yeah, me and you could get in the ring for that money. 3 rounds. I'll whoop you. You big and sloppy and too stiff. And I don't believe all that Golden Glove shit. All right, we gonna put that to the side. Mayweather, holla at me. Believe me. I'll be his Huckleberry. All right, we're gonna talk about my nephew now. We're gonna talk about this snitch thing and my nephew and Benzino's a snitch. And when I went and did the podcast in Boston, there was some young guys. I said, let me help them out. And they bring that up and they try to manipulate a story. My nephew was my first nephew, 2 sisters. We had different fathers, which plays into play later on, I'm gonna tell you. I always kept the story quiet. I was filming Love and Hip Hop and he shot me. But now, since it's an issue about me snitching, then I have to protect my name and my reputation. So, again, I raised my nephew. His pops wasn't around. I raised my nephew. My sisters, when I was with the Source and I had all that money, I was giving thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay? Later on in life, my mom, me and my sister, this was before the Source magazine, money. Dude, me and my sister went half on a house that was supposed to be her and my mother's, my older sister, okay? Now, the house was a big house in Dorchester, right? At the time, probably worth about $180,000. I think I might have put up 20. She put up 20 or 10 or something and got the house. My mother had a 3rd floor apartment, a little small apartment, while her guy, my nephew, her daughter, they lived downstairs, big house. My mother, it was a lot of stairs on the 3rd floor. My mother's older, beautiful woman from Cape Verde. I miss you, Mary. I miss her every day. My best friend. I was the only son, the only child from her and my father. So, of course, I'm filming Love and Hip Hop. And, again, all the years I've done nothing but took care of my family. I had the money to do it. There was never no beef with my nephew. Years later, come to find out that, let me go here. I had to buy my mother her own house because, again, that 3rd floor apartment and her climbing up them stairs was too much. So I bought her her own house in Milton, Massachusetts. Bought her a Benz. She didn't like to drive. She was older. But she was happy with a house. My mother started getting dementia. So there was a thing where my sister wanted to take care of her. I didn't live in Boston anymore, so she moved back with my sister at the other house. They was going back and forth, but the house was still in Milton. Come to find out that my nephew Guy and my sister was taking out loans on the house in lines of credit. My mother didn't do nothing because she was suffering from dementia. My father had found out, words were exchanged, which it wasn't nothing like I was going to do anything to my nephew.
See, that's fucked up. If that's true, this is all alleged, but If they taking out loans on the house and using it for their own personal gain and keeping it, yo, that's just some diabolical bullshit, man. And you know they say, man, sometimes, man, family is worse than your friends, man. Like that's crazy right there. Yo, like
Something, it just was a fucked up situation that happened. Like, how could they take out loans on my mother's spot, especially the one that my money went into, and she never knew nothing. Okay, I'm filming Love and Hip Hop. All of a sudden, my mother dies. She dies in her sleep. Now, my mother worked at Prudential Insurance Company all her life. I was actually in her stomach when she was working at the Prudential in Boston. When she died, there was no money for me. Not that I wanted them, but it was only for my sister. Imagine that, her only son, but it was only for her sister, for my sister. Okay. Can't prove nothing. But we do know that they took lines of credit and loans out and forged their signature. We do know that. So I guess the guilty conscience must have been eating them up. And when she died and I was coming up there to the wake, he must have thought that I was going to make a move on him. Now, I knew that there was tension. So when I got up to Boston, we was filming Love and Hip Hop. When I got to Boston, I didn't want to be at the wake with everybody. So I suggested that I go an hour earlier to see my mother with just me and her. I didn't want to see her like that, so I hadn't closed the casket. I was pretty shaken up. They took out a bunch of loans on the house. Found out. When I got to the wake, I went by myself, seen my mom, closed casket. I made a decision I wasn't going to go to the funeral because of the tension. I seen her and we was filming and I was going to go back because I didn't want the rest of the family and everybody else, all this shit, all this drama to overshadow my mother's funeral. She was being buried in Plymouth. I made the decision not to go. As I'm getting ready to get on the plane the next day, which was going to be my mother's funeral, it was a Sunday, Stevie J called me. Shout out to Sleezo. Hope you're all right, my G. Ain't talked to you in a minute. So Sleezo calls me and says, hey, I'm out here in Plymouth. Where you at? I'm like, man, I'm not going out there, bro. He's like, oh, man, I'm way out here. Plymouth is like 45 minutes from Boston. I said, stay there. I'm going to come get you. I jump in a rental. Now, mind you, I have no reason to be strapped. Sunday afternoon, 12 o'clock. I'm not thinking about nothing. I ain't got no beef in Boston. Jump in a rental. I start heading out towards Route 3. Route 3 goes to the Cape. It's one of the most, it's a 2-lane highway, but it's super busy. And it's a super conservative white highway. A lot of people live down the Cape of White. You know what I'm saying? It's like the suburbs. As I'm going down there, I noticed there's a funeral procession, the cars flashing lights and everything. So I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if this, sure enough, it was my mother's. Seen a bunch of light-skinned Cape Verdean people. I was like, yeah, this is, I'm on the left lane, the funeral procession's on the right going slow. I'm driving on the left, next thing you know, bop, 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 bop. I'm getting hit. I got hit 3 times on my shoulder. I felt them, but I'm still driving. I did a 180, a fishtail 180, started driving back against the traffic. I couldn't drive no more because my arm kind of felt limp. I kept breathing the feel of my chest because I've been shot before. I wanted to make sure that, nothing hit my chest. Once I knew that my breathing was good and everything, I jumped out that bitch and started running. As I'm running, I run towards the hearse. And this is a true story. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear on my mother's soul this shit happened. I can't even believe it happened. As I run, I go towards the hearse, and all I seen, because it has the old school locks, I just seen the finger pressed down on the lock of the front of the hearse, because it was 2 hearses. Of course, one had my mother's coffin. It had to. So then I ran down a couple other cars, and then 2 of my cousins, Auntie Geneva, God rest her soul, I jumped in the back of their car. They're screaming like a motherfucker. I said, you got to drive over the medium, get me out of here, because, I'm losing a lot of blood. They drove over the medium, and we're going down here. Now, at that time, my nephew never been locked up, never had he wasn't a street kid. I raised him. He was a DJ. Man, I raised him. You could see in videos, I was proud. That was my first nephew. I loved him to death. My nephew was the first one to call police. He was the first one to get on the phone and said, I just shot a man, because come to find out, he had 3 guns, and he had licenses for all of them. I didn't even know he had licenses. He called the police first. All right, this is the shit that nobody said. This is the shit that these niggas at the podcast, everybody just wants to try to get a story, clicks and comments, and trying to stain somebody's name. Don't even know what the fuck they talking about. He called the police first. The very first one to call police. Now, mind you, this is about 1 o'clock broad daylight. Cars, 100 people seen him shooting. Everybody's seen. He told the police that I had a gun, and I pointed it at him, that I'm Benzino. Now, in Boston, I got a bad reputation. The police been trying to fuck me over for years. My whole family, my father, my brothers, it is what it is. Racist city. You know what I'm saying? I love my people. I love the hood, but the power structure, I can't fuck with them. Man, I love the sports teams, which, by the way, the Celtics will beat the shit out the Knicks tonight. But let's get get back on point. He called the police first and said I had a gun. When we finally get off the exit, I'm bleeding like a motherfucker, getting ready to pass out, blood all on the back of the car. The police pull us over, state troopers. As soon as we get off the exit, I think it was the Pembroke exit. They took me out the back of the car and stripped me butt naked, dick out and everything. Butt naked, bleeding butt naked. They said, where's the gun? 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 I think that it was Driscoll. Now, Driscoll's whole family, if y'all know the Driscolls up in Boston, y'all know them some dirty motherfuckers, all right? He said, yeah, your nephew said you had a gun. Your nephew said that you were shooting at him. Your nephew said this. I said, no, he shot me. So what the fuck are you talking about? He said, because like, at this point, it's just a lot of chaos. They're screaming, yelling, where's the gun? Your nephew. I said, no, he shot me. I said, I mean, it's broad daylight. And plus, like, I've been around enough to know that whatever you say right then and there that don't matter when it comes to snitching. It matters in the grand jury and in the courtroom. So now, the ambulance came. I get in the ambulance. They're still asking me, where's the gun? Where's the gun? Where's the gun? He said that you shot him. Where's the gun? So at that point now, I get to the hospital. That's with Love and Hip Hop cameras. I had a connection in there at the hospital. You know, it's Boston, but I'm in Quincy Hospital. So they came. They were shooting and everything. More detectives came. They said, look, you know what I'm saying? You know, he called. He said you had a gun. That's the reason he shot you and everything. So really, how the fuck could I snitch when he was the first one that called them and said that the first one, before any statement that I made anything, he said he shot me. Let's make that clear. All right, months go by. It's time for the grand jury. Now the grand jury is going to be the jury that got picked to see that if he's going to get charged with attempted murder. In Boston, anything over the waist, attempted murder. Anything below the waist, assault with a dangerous weapon. Above the waist is 15 years and up. Everybody knows that. We get to the grand jury. They ask me, do you know who? I said, nah, I don't know who shot me. Now that's in the paperwork. The grand jury, you can go get the paperwork. They said, nah, I don't. I said, I don't know who shot me. I said, I was dizzy. I was fucked up. But you said this. I said, I don't know what I was saying. I was panicking. I was blanking out. I was saying anything. I was in an ambulance. I said anything. I was in the hospital. I was under medication. I was saying anything. They said, okay, fine. Months now go down. It's time to go to court. They tell me they tell my lawyer, God rest Mr. Leppo, they said he has to come in court. I said, I'm not coming no court. I already told the grand jury I don't know who shot me. If you don't come to court, we're going to give you 6 months contempt. Ain't this a bitch? I said, okay. Me, my father went to court in Brockton. My nephew was sitting there with his lawyer. Big fat bitch. They're looking at me like, it's funny because they said, if you can see who's in the courtroom, point them out. I said, I don't see anybody. If you can see who shot you, point them out. I said, I don't see anybody. It was that simple when I left. There was another 10 witnesses that were white people and everything that were on the highway that witnessed him shooting me. Because I said that he didn't shoot me, he got 18 months for shooting in a dwelling around people. That's what he got charged with. If I would have said he shot me, he would have did 15 years. 15 years. So I don't give a fuck about no internet. I'm solid. 50 cents, your pussy. My nephew, your pussy. And if any motherfucker, and if there's any real issues, I'm not hard to find. But that's a fact. What I just said was fact. We don't gotta, and the paperwork's out there. So I don't want to hear about no snitching shit. I don't want to hear it. And guess what? A lot of you motherfuckers out there with the snitching shit, you know, snitching was the first snitching thing that I heard of. Of course, my dad told me at 11 years old, but he was dealing with the mob. So the mob was the first one to really kind of popularize don't snitch. Because back then, if you snitch, you was getting killed. But I think after, when Sammy the Bull, I think after that, and even Whitey Bulger, when they seeing that the snitches are the actual ones killing all the people, I think people started saying, damn, ain't nobody killed Sammy the Bull. Ain't, you know, Whitey finally got it. But it's like, back then, if you snitch, you got dealt with. Nowadays, y'all motherfuckers are exposing snitches, y'all.
Yo, I think that's enough for everybody. Little recap, man. I just think that, you know, he ain't have to break it all down like that, because that's still a form of, even though it's public information, it's just like everybody doesn't know that about, you know, the situation with Benzino and his nephew. You know what I'm saying? And 50, he's the ultimate troll, and he's just like, he got under Benzino. To me, in my opinion, this is he just got under Benzino's skin. You know what I'm saying? I seen the interview where the guy was asking him questions about the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, he was trying to explain the same thing he just said on here, but he ended up walking out of the interview, man, and made himself look kind of crazy. That's what draws the reaction. But anyhow, hit that like button, subscribe, man. Love y'all, man. We out. I ain't gonna wrap y'all head off, man. We go ahead, do y'all thing, man. Have a great day.